Muslim American groups are calling for presidential candidate Ben Carson to drop out of the race following remarks he made over the weekend when asked if a president's faith matters.
If it's inconsistent with the values and principles of America, then of course it should matter. But if it fits within the realm of America and consistent with the Constitution, no problem. I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation. I absolutely would not agree with that.
And Carson's campaign is defending his comments today. Dawood Waleed is the director of the Michigan chapter of the Council of American Islamic Relations, CAIR, and they're calling for Carson to drop out of the 2016 race. And thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. So what was your reaction when you heard Ben Carson's comments?
Well, as a Detroiter and as an African American, I was astounded by Dr. Carson's comments, in particular that we know for a fact that there were people who were adverse and are still against President Obama because of his blackness. And there are people in the GOP base who probably would not vote for Dr. Carson either because he's black. So it's really interesting that he's trying to champion American values within the framework of the Constitution, and yet he's talking about discriminating against someone based upon one specific part of their identity. And there's no religious tests in these United States of America of who can run for or become president of our country.
So you were actually offended on two fronts, as a black man and because of faith as well.
And no doubt about it, I was puzzled as well as offended, both from an ethnic perspective as well as a faith perspective. I also thought that given that 20 to 30% of African Americans have roots going back to enslaved Africans who came here who were Muslims, it's highly likely that Ben Carson has at least one, if not more than one, Muslim in his family tree going back. It's just mind-boggling.
Has your group had other non-Muslim groups reach out who are equally as upset as you all are?
Oh, well, I am aware in the Baltimore area of a Jewish organization that put out condemnation of Mr. Carson. And I have heard of people on the streets in general, as well as some elected officials like Harry Reid speak out against Dr. Carson's comments. But as far as a number of civil rights organizations putting out statements against Dr. Carson, I'm unaware of that at this time.
Do you find that troubling? Would you like to see more support?
I'd definitely like to see more support. Unfortunately, in these United States of America, Islamophobia seems to be the politically accepted form of bigotry. Had Dr. Carson made those unfortunate comments about American Jewish community, and that he didn't think that Jewish people live up to the Constitution of the United States of America enough to be president, there would have been outcry from every single ethnic group in this country. I have no doubt about that. But when it comes to Muslims, people seem to, give it a pass. And I would even say that we have not heard word from the chairman of the national GOP in terms of condemning Dr. Carson's comments. So to me, when we have people in the political realm who don't speak up against this type of bigotry, to me it's a type of passive endorsement of this speech.
Who can or who should be the person that can take the lead in stopping this growing tide of Islamophobia? Who is the person, the group, the person in society or in the community that can stop this?
There has to be people with moral courage within inside the Republican Party that takes up this mantle. Our political landscape has become so partisan that it's almost as if people on the left or Democrats speak out against an issue. It's like Republicans double down, like in defense. So there really needs to be some courageous moral leadership within the GOP coming from the very top to say that enough is enough of this Islamophobia, xenophobia, and bigotry that's coming out, and not just against Muslims, but talk about wanting to build a wall on the southern border to keep out Mexicans. There's talk from some about not wanting to allow refugees to come into our country, and Syrian refugees. And then some of these same people are also unfairly blaming Black Lives Matter movement for a handful of police officers who've been fatally shot this year. It's all connected to me.
Dawood Waleed with CAIR, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.